Hello children, very glad to meet you all in this episode. Now we are going to see the lesson The Attic, that is from unit number 4, that is prose. In my last session, I taught you the first half of this lesson, The Attic. Now I'll give you the gist of what I taught you in the previous episode. Then we will move forward. The great Indian writer Satyajit Ray has written this story, The Attic. So Satyajit Ray introduces two characters in the beginning. One is the narrator, the other one is Aditya. Aditya and the narrator, they were travelling by car from the place called Deodaganj to Calcutta. On their way to Calcutta, they wanted to visit a village called Brahmapur, which was the native village of or native place of Aditya. They wanted to just visit Nagin uncle's tea shop also. So when they visited Nagin uncle's tea shop, they could see a man sitting over there. That man was just looking very strange, and that man looked at the narrator and Aditya when they were waiting for the nankata that they had already ordered. So the man looked at both of them and he just started behaving very mysteriously. He started reciting one of the poems of Tagore. Then he made a gesture of namaste to all, and then he just left the place. Suddenly, the narrator could just see a change in the facial expression of Aditya. But the narrator didn't ask Aditya about anything. Aditya inquired the tea shop's owner, Nagin uncle, and he wanted to just know the details about this stranger. Aditya seemed to be just tensed up. His nerves were overwrought and he was getting tensed up, and he suddenly decided to go to the ancestral house. Then the narrator also decided to accompany Aditya. So both of them went to the ancestral house, which was in ruins. It was surrounded by big walls, and they went straight to the second floor. That is, they went to the attic on the second floor of the house. The attic was very dusty. It was not a clean place at all, and the floor was just scattered with twigs, straw and pigeon droppings, and there was a broken cricket bat, and they could just see the remains of an armchair also. They just entered the attic. As soon as they entered, Aditya started searching for something, and Aditya didn't reveal to the narrator what he was exactly searching for. And he was searching for one particular thing, and he got on the packing case, and he just started searching, and he pushed his hand inside. At last, he got what he had been searching for. And this is where we just stopped in the first session. And you can just see on the screen the pictures. And this is the staircase they just used to go to the attic. And the second picture you can just see here, and this is the attic, exact attic. They could just see straw, twigs on the floor. They could see the remains of an armchair also. At last, he just got what he had been searching for. And Aditya was just very, very happy. And Aditya just felt, that is quite happy and quite relieved also. So he heaved a sigh of relief. So what do you mean heaving a sigh of relief, right? He had an experience, that is, he experienced an intense feeling of happiness and relief. So he felt very happy and he just felt relieved also. So this is where I just stopped in the previous episode. Let us start the second half now. They next went to a jeweller's shop. They met the jeweler. They wanted to just sell what they just found in the attic. So the jeweler remarked that, it was an antique. And what do you mean by antique? You can just see the picture here and you can just see the meaning also, right? Antique is nothing but the article belonging to ancient times and of great value. Some old thing, right, belonging to just past, but it has got great value. So the jeweler remarked that it was an antique. Collected the antique from Aditya, and he gave rupees 150 for that antique. They collected the money. They both just came out of the shop. They again just went to the place where Sasanka Sanyal was just staying. He went to his friend's house. That is, Sasanka was there. He was reciting, right? When they entered, Sasanka was just reciting one of Tagore's poems. And he was just unperturbed, because he just said that no one just visited him. So he answered, in an unperturbed manner. He was just speaking in an unperturbed manner, right? What do you mean by unperturbed? What is the meaning of the word unperturbed? Let's look at this. Undisturbed or unconcerned. He was not at all just totally involved, in that matter. And he was just unconcerned also. He said no one just visited him. There was a charpai there, and look at the next word, which appears on the screen. Charpai is nothing but a small folding bed. And except for the charpai, nothing was just lying on the floor there, and they didn't find any place to just sit, like any sofa or some other furniture to just sit on. So they just remained standing. And Aditya took out the money, it is 150 rupees. He gave it to Sasanka Sanyal. Sasanka Sanyal was so surprised, he was so astonished because he was not expecting any money from anyone. As we discussed before, he was a man of self-respect and he had never just lost his self-dignity and honor anywhere. So he was a little bit hesitant to just accept the money and he just asked him, okay, what is this money for? And Aditya explained that that was the money from Aditya. And now Sasanka Sanyal could just relate to that. He started, that is what describing about Aditya. That means he started saying about Aditya. Who was Aditya? Right? Okay, let me just give you the story now. So Sasanka Sanyal described what exactly happened 29 years ago. And you know very well, right? I have just already explained this to you. I have already narrated this. And before 29 years, Aditya's father had just left that small village Brahmapur and he had started a new business in Calcutta. And Aditya had also just left the place 29 years ago. And after 29 years, he is just visiting the place. And Aditya just says, this is the money from Aditya. And Aditya doesn't reveal his identity here. Aditya just says, this is the money from Aditya. Sasanka Sanyal was surprised. And he just, starts, describing what happened, before 29 years. Right? And Sasanka Sanyal and Aditya were, classmates. They were studying in the same school, 29 years ago. And Sasanka Sanyal always stood first in academics. Aditya's position was always second. How much ever Aditya tried, Aditya could not beat Sasanka Sanyal in academics. And Sasanka Sanyal was always the first in academics. But Aditya just felt very jealous. He was very jealous of Sasanka Sanyal. He just tried and tried his level best, but he could not either beat Sasanka Sanyal in academics especially. But he felt very jealous of Sasanka Sanyal. And once what happened, there was a recitation competition. And Sasanka Sanyal stood first, and he got a special prize also. This happened in the year 1948. And Sasanka Sanyal got a special prize and he received a silver medal. And Aditya could not bear with that. Aditya could not just stand it. And he was very, very jealous of Sasanka Sanyal again. So what did he just do? And Aditya took the silver medal from Sasanka Sanyal. He told Sasanka Sanyal that he wanted to just show it to his father. Sasanka Sanyal also just gave the silver medal to Aditya. Aditya took the silver medal from Sasanka Sanyal. He just took it home. That silver medal was never returned to Sasanka Sanyal. Why? Because Aditya lied to Sasanka Sanyal. That is on enquiry. When Sasanka Sanyal wanted his silver medal back, when he just asked him so many questions about the medal, when will you return it? When will you just give it back? I want the medal back, Whenever the question was just raised by, Sasanka Sanyal, right? And Aditya was just telling lies. He just lied. He lied that there was a hole in his pocket and the medal had already just fallen down. That means, he had just lost it. He had lost the medal. And Sasanka Sanyal was very upset. But he couldn't do anything. And this happened, that is 29 years ago. And after 29 years, Aditya realizes his mistake. When he just crosses, that particular place, and when he decides to visit, Brahmapur, when he just goes to, the tea shop of Nagin uncle, he happens just to meet this man, Sasanka Sanyal. And when Sasanka Sanyal, started, reciting one of the poems of Tagore and Pan Raksha, right, keeping of a promise. So the same poem, he just recited, and the poem, which was recited by him on the prize giving day. It is 29 years ago. And this 29 years ago in the year 1948, and Sasanka Sanyal recited the same poem in the recitation competition and he won the special prize also. The same poem he just recited again when he saw the narrator and Aditya in Nagin uncle's tea shop to just remind him of the incident. Just to remind Aditya of the incident, he recited the same poem. Aditya could just understand and Aditya recognized Sasanka Sanyal. Sasanka Sanyal was also able to just recognize Aditya, and he recognized Aditya by the mole on his right cheek. And let us just see the words given on the screen now. And first one, antique, and look at the first picture. And this is the picture of a jeweller's shop. And you must have just visited jewelry, right? And a jeweler always just sells jewels and some ornaments and then some precious stones and all that. And so this is the place and this is the jeweller's shop. This is what you just see on the screen here. And antique, what is it antique? They just get antiques also. Antique, as I just told you, belonging to ancient times and they are of very, very great value. They are very valuable. And look at the next word, unperturbed. Why did we just come across this word unperturbed, right? And Sasanka Sanyal answered in an unperturbed manner. No one visits me. This is Sasanka Sanyal's statement. And he gave the statement in an unperturbed manner. Unperturbed, you know the meaning, right? Unconcerned manner or undisturbed. He was not upset. He was not disturbed in any way. He just answered very coolly and very casually also. And then the next word you just find here is charpai. And except for a charpai, they couldn't just see anything on the floor there or anything in the house. What do you mean by a charpai? Okay, that is a small folding bed. And the next word is affluent. And we have not come across the word, and I want to just explain this here. And when Sasanka Sanyal wants just to speak about, Aditya, he says, right? And Aditya was a spoiled child of affluent parents. This is the very same statement, very same sentence you come across in your lesson also, right? Aditya was a spoiled child of affluent parents. And what do you mean by affluent? Wealthy parents, right? Aditya's parents were wealthy, and Aditya was just lying, and Aditya was not very true, and he was not very sincere, and he never just wanted to keep up his promise, right? So Sasanka Sanyal just says that he was a spoiled child of affluent parents. That is, this is where you come across the word affluent. And the last word you just see on the screen is generosity. And Sasanka Sanyal, just sees the money Aditya is just giving to him, right? And Sasanka Sanyal just says, why this sudden act of generosity, right? What do you mean by generosity? The quality of being kind and generous. And you are very kind to others. You are very generous to others. What do you mean generous, right? You just spend money for others without any expectations. Don't hesitate to just spend money, and you are generous. And for all good deeds, and for all good just charitable purposes and all that, and charitable deeds, you give your money, right? You are really very generous. So now, and Sasanka Sanyal just asked the question to Aditya, when he just gives 150 rupees to Sasanka Sanyal. Why does he just say this? Why does he just use the word generosity? Or why this sudden act of generosity? Why Aditya is just so generous all of a sudden? He doesn't understand, right? So he's just asking, why is this sudden generosity, especially from Aditya, right? This is where we just come across this word. And look at the first picture, and there's a jeweler's shop. And then look at the second picture, there is a medal. So there's a silver medal he got. Who got? Sasanka Sanyal, received on the prize giving day in the year 1948. So when in the year 1948, Sasanka Sanyal, participated and won, competition, the recitation competition, he was given a medal. So Sasanka Sanyal received this medal. So Aditya, when Aditya just went to the attic, so what was his intention? His intention was to find the medal, and he knew very well that he had already just kept that medal in the attic. That's why he suddenly just decided to go to the ancestral house. So when Aditya gives him 150 rupees, Sasanka Sanyal is so surprised, and he says, why Aditya just shows generosity all of a sudden? He's just a little bit confused, and he's just surprised also. He doesn't want to accept the money, and you know very well, Aditya suddenly decided to go to the ancestral house. After Aditya saw Sasanka Sanyal and just got the details about Sasanka Sanyal, and he decided to visit the ancestral house. And at the beginning, he was not willing to go to the ancestral house. And when he collected details from Nagin uncle, the tea shop's owner, he could understand that he was suffering. He had just become a pauper. Who had become a pauper? Right? This man, Sasanka Sanyal. And Sasanka Sanyal was very poor, and then he had already just lost his wife. He had already lost his son also. He had just sold his land to get his daughter married. And now what is his actual condition? He doesn't have money to buy spectacles even. So Aditya just suddenly decided, let me just go to the ancestral house. And he knew very well that he had already just kept the medal only in the attic. That is the attic on the second floor of his house. He remembered it pretty well. And he wanted to just get back the medal from the attic. And then he just wanted to just sell it out in the jeweler's shop. He wanted to give that money to Sasanka Sanyal, because he thought that money would be really or definitely helpful to Sasanka Sanyal. So this was the plan. That's why he went to the attic on the second floor. He searched for the medal, that is the antique, like the old thing. He at last found out. He got back the medal, and he wanted to sell it, and he wanted to just get money out of it. But Sasanka Sanyal, after just narrating everything, he doesn't want to accept money. Now Sasanka Sanyal just says, I don't want the money. If I get back my medal, I'll be really very happy. So he just says, Sasanka Sanyal just says, the end, I don't want the money. If I get the medal back, I'll be the happiest person. And that will be really helpful to just forget the unpleasant incident of childhood days. And that was a very, very unpleasant incident which happened in my childhood, right? In my childhood days. And if I want to just forget it, definitely that I want to just get back the medal. If I get back the medal, okay, I'll be really very happy and I'll just forget the unpleasant memories or unpleasant experiences of the childhood days or unpleasant incident of the childhood days. So Aditya just accepted to just give the medal back. So Aditya went back to the jeweller's shop and he collected the medal, okay, from the jeweler. He gave the money back. He collected the medal from the jeweler and he came back to Sasanka's place. He gave the medal back to Sasanka Sanyal. And you should realize one thing here, right? Aditya, after 29 long years, he just visits this place. But still, he realizes that he has just made a mistake. When he was a child, he had made a mistake. He wants to rectify his mistake. So what is he doing? He wants to give the money to Sasanka Sanyal as he is poor now, as he doesn't accept. Sasanka Sanyal doesn't accept the money and Aditya decides to give the medal back to Sasanka Sanyal. And look at the screen now. Let us just go through the important words and their meanings. So look at the first picture. Then Aditya gives rupees 150 to Sasanka Sanyal. And then first he just tries to accept it, then he doesn't want to accept. Then the second one, there is a mole. So how did Sasanka Sanyal recognize Aditya in the tea shop? So he just starts saying, what does Sasanka Sanyal just say? He could recognize Aditya when he was sitting in the tea shop by the mole on his right cheek. And what is a mole, right? Okay, the meaning is just given here and look at the screen. And a mole is a unique birthmark, okay, that is just a special. I may have a mole on my right cheek. So what is the mole? Okay, look at the picture and this is called the mole. That is a small, spot in black or brown. And that is a unique, special birthmark, that humans have on their bodies. Clear? So the unique birthmark found on the human body, that is called a mole. So only by the mole Aditya had on his right cheek, Sasanka Sanyal could recognize him. And look at the last picture, right? And Sasanka Sanyal, he doesn't want the money and he just wants only the medal. So Aditya goes back to the jeweler, he gives the money and he just gets the medal back. He gives it back to Sasanka Sanyal and Sasanka Sanyal is very, very happy, right? And look at the words now, peering, looking very carefully, peering intently, okay, peering intently, this is the very same words you just come across in the lesson. And intently means with a serious, eager attention, that is eagerly or seriously, okay, looking at somebody, that is peering close, peering intently. Then mole, I have just already explained, a unique birthmark found on the human body. And grievances, complaints, and justified, reasonable. So when he just speaks about, when Sasanka Sanyal speaks about his experience or his just a past unpleasant incident, that is how he just lost the medal, how Aditya just took it away, right? Aditya just says, right, yes, your grievances are justified. So what do you mean by this statement? Your grievances are justified, right? And you just make a complaint now. You had a better experience in the past. You are just complaining about that. That is quite reasonable. So Aditya also accepts his mistake. Aditya also realizes his mistake. So what he had done in his childhood days is completely wrong. And the next word you just see, so eventually, there is a finally, the medal was just restored. It was handed over to Sasanka Sanyal. And then the last word is restored, brought back or got back, right? Medal was just got back from the jeweler. It was handed over to Sasanka Sanyal. So this is where the story ends. So what is the lesson you just learn, or what is the moral, or what is the message that great writer, the great Indian writer Satyajit Ray just want to just convey? This is a message conveyed, okay, right? To err is human. So we tend to make mistakes sometimes. When we realize that we have done a mistake, and we should always be ready to rectify our mistake, and you should just try to rectify your mistake, okay, this completely. And that should be your, quality. And that quality you should just inculcate in yourself. So this is the lesson, or this is the message, or this is the moral that we just learned from this piece of work. Let me just go on. So let us discuss the answers for the questions given in your book. And there are some while reading questions in your book. And when you read paragraph after paragraph, when you read the complete story, to just test your understanding, they have given you some questions to just test your understanding. So let us just see how far you have just understood these questions. I have given you the answers here, and let us just see the answers also. Question number 1. When did Aditya leave the local school? So when did Aditya leave the local school? You know very well. So he had just left the school, left the local school. This is 29 years back. He just passed the matriculation examination. Then he just left the village because his father wanted to set in a new business in Calcutta. So look at the answer here. Aditya left his school after he had passed the matriculation exam to continue his studies in Calcutta. It was 29 years ago. So this is what I explained also. So then question B. Why did Aditya think that the school would not be recognizable? He would not be able to recognize the school because he has come back here, that is, he has come back to Brahmapur, that is his native village, after 29 long years. So he believes very strongly that the school would not be recognizable one. That means he would not be able to recognize the school. Aditya thought that the school might have undergone many changes over the years, because in this long period, in these 29 years, Aditya just thought definitely the school might have undergone so many changes and it would not be a recognizable one. So that's why he just thought that it would not be a recognizable one. So question C. Who were Aditya's ancestors? So Aditya's ancestors were once zamindars. You know zamindars, right? Very rich people, and who had a lot of lands and who were really very wealthy and who were just able to just control the people over there. So zamindars, you must have just come across this word in some movies also. So Aditya's ancestors were once zamindars. And question D. How was the landscape through which they travelled? They just travelled through a landscape, then they just reached to school and Nagin uncle's tea shop. And how was the landscape through which they travelled? The sun was just soothing. What is meant by soothing? That was not very hot, and gentle rays of the sun were just falling on them. So the sun was soothing, and the harvest was over. The paddy fields were just seen on either side of the road. So only through this area, okay, they were travelling, and then they just entered this village, Brahmapur. Let me pass on to the next question. Question E. What did Aditya visit? Aditya visited the local school, a 2-storied building. He visited Nagin uncle's tea shop also, but here, after a particular paragraph, this question has been added. That means, after reading the particular paragraph, you are just supposed to answer this question. That's why I have just given one answer here. He visited the local school, a 2-storied building. If you want to just add Nagin uncle's tea shop, that is also correct. Or you can just stop here also. Then question F. Where was Nagin uncle's shop? They went to Nagin uncle's tea shop. Okay, where was it located? Nagin uncle's shop was next to a grocery shop. I have already just given you the meaning of the word, that is grocery. And it was just next to a grocery shop and opposite to a temple of Lord Shiva. Question G. Besides tea, what did Nagin uncle have in his shop? They wanted to have tea. And when they inquired, Nagin uncle just told, besides tea, I have biscuits and savories. Savories, I have just already given you the meaning, spicy snacks, and definitely not sweets. Okay, so he had biscuits, he had some biscuits, and he had savories also, right? And besides tea, I have already given you the meaning of the word besides also. In addition to that, in addition to tea, he had biscuits and savories. Question H. What did Nagin uncle tell about Sanyal? Nagin uncle described, okay, just told something about Sanyal, right? What were the details given by Nagin uncle about Sanyal? And Nagin uncle told that Sanyal was short of sight and just hearing, short of sight. And whenever you just read the answers, whenever you just learn the answers, okay, don't just mug up. And rote learning, okay, should not be just there. And you should understand the meaning and just, okay, learn it. So you won't just forget it in the exam hall. You will just do it very well in the board examination also. And this is what is expected from you. This is a language. You know very well, right? And without understanding the meaning, and whatever be the subject, without understanding, you cannot just, learn and you cannot write the exam. And for a language, you should understand the meaning first, and then you should just try to frame your own answers. If it is not possible, right, okay, follow my answers. Let me move on. Nagin uncle told that, okay, Sanyal was a short of sight and just hearing. Short of sight means he had poor eyesight. He was unable to see properly, and he was unable to hear properly also. He was a short of sight and hearing. Being a poor man, he couldn't afford to buy spectacles. He needed spectacles for that age. But he could not afford to buy spectacles because he was a poor man. He didn't have money to just buy spectacles. So this is the answer for question H. And the next question I. In what way was Mr. Sanyal's behavior strange? Suddenly Sanyal, okay, stood up, raised his arm, and with dilated eyes, what do you mean dilated eyes? With wide open eyes, started reciting a poem. What is the poem? It's one of the poems of Tagore, and Panraksha, that is the name, that is the title of the poem, that is Panraksha. The meaning of this is actually keeping a promise. Then he left the shop with a gesture of, okay, namaste. Then he just said namaste, folding his hands, he said namaste and he just left. Question J. What did Nagin uncle tell about Sanyal's past life? Sanyal had just sold his land. This I have already explained. So let me just read out. Sanyal had just sold his land to get his daughter married. He had lost his wife and son the previous year. He was staying in his father's friend's house. Then question K. How did Sanyal show that he had a sense of self-respect? He was a man of respect. He was a man of dignity and honor. He never just wanted to lose his dignity or honor at any point of time. And how did Sanyal just show it out? Sanyal never failed to pay his bill at the tea stall. Though he was poor, he possessed a high self-esteem and respect. What do you mean self-esteem? Very, very high opinion about oneself. Very high respect about oneself. He respected himself and he didn't want to just lose that respect anywhere. So, question L. And why was the attic a favorite place for children? Normally children like the place called attic. Why do they just like the attic? Because they can enjoy, they won't have any disturbance at all. They can do anything, like they can just play there, they can just sit and read a lot of books there. So that is a world of their own. So the children considered the attic as a world of their own, hence it was a favorite place for children. Question M. What did Aditya do on reaching the attic? On reaching the attic, okay, what did Aditya do? He stood on the packing case and pushed his hand, okay, that is into the ventilator pole. He could find the attic that he was just looking for. He felt happy and relieved. At last, he could just find the attic he was just searching for. And he stood on the packing case and he was just searching for that. And question IN. What did the jeweler say about the article? The jeweler remarked that it was an antique. Antique, you know very well, that is okay, belonging to the past, belonging to the ancient times, and that is of great value also. Next question. O. Was Sanyal happy about the visitors? Yes, he was happy about the visitors. Why did Sanyal recite the poem in the tea shop earlier? Why did Sanyal recite the poem in the tea shop earlier? Because he just recognized. Okay, you know, I have just already explained. He recognized Aditya by the mole on his cheek, on his right cheek. He recited the poem, the same poem he had recited, okay, that's on the prize giving day. Why? He wanted Aditya to just remember the poem also. Sanyal recognized Aditya when he saw him in the tea shop. He recited the same poem he had recited on the prize giving day. On purpose, deliberately, intentionally, purposely, he just did that so that Aditya might remember him. The last question. What was engraved on the medal? Shriman Sasanka Sanyal 1948 was clearly engraved on the medal. What was engraved on the medal? So this is what was engraved. Shriman Sasanka Sanyal, that is the prize winner, the special prize winner. The year is 1948. Hope all of you have just understood this lesson very well. I would like to convey my best wishes to you to do well in your board examination, and thank you so much.